I got you stuck off the realness. I don't know any words of this song.
Before and after and transformation pictures are so 2013.
Who's even doing that anymore? Let's be honest.
But on a serious note, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but gyms aren't using that so much as an advertising tool as much as it used to be. And there are many reasons for that.
Yeah, I mean, what's the last time you looked at one and were like, wow, this is really inspiring to me?
Yesterday. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I'll be honest. Every time I see them, I'm just like, all right, bro, like, cool. And I'll just scroll by and my brain automatically assumes it's some sort of jip or some sort of lighting trick or something.
That's the thing. You've probably been jaded by the amount of exaggeration and all the little ploys and tricks that people play.
Editing, the dehydration tricks, all of that.
So much that goes into faking a before and after that I think that that's why it's lost. It's been oversaturated.
For sure, it's lost its allure.
So we're going to talk about that decline of before and after culture and the using aesthetics as the only way to track progress, how there's better ways to do it, and why that's happened, and where we're heading now as a fitness industry.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's.
As usual, I'm the before version of Victor, and that's the after version of Julian. We're here, be fit. You guys know, like, subscribe, share it with your friends, share it with your enemies even. Who knows? They
Comment.
might like it.
So first thing I want to cover is what you brought up about the skepticism of seeing it and already
Assuming foul play.
There's funny business.
Assuming foul play is what I do.
Or there's, you know what word I really like? Fakery.
Oh, that's
Fakery
so
involved.
deepery. Yeah. Blankery.
All right,
Let's call it fudgery.
fudgery.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think you're jaded by it?
Why do I think I'm jaded by it? Because I've been in the industry, we both have been in the industry for combined over 25 years. And we've seen so many like BS ones, so many people, so many trainers, so many even people posting, and it's the same thing. The before picture, the same pose.
Crappy lighting.
Crappy lighting, inflated, exaggerated belly, yeah, miserable look on your face. And the second one, chipper with a good smile.
A nice tan.
Good lighting, a nice tan, better posture.
You shaved your chest.
You shaved your chest. Maybe they even changed the coloring. They tuned the picture a little bit. And I'm not even going into the actual editing of it. I'm just talking about color grading and all that. So all of these things are a recipe for me to automatically distrust anyone that I see. And we know all the tricks of the trade, the getting a little pump before. All of these things are things that I automatically look at it. I'm like, I don't trust that. Like, I have no faith in a before and after picture anymore.
Did you ever see those when it came out that a lot of these infomercial before and afters were actually taken on the same day because of all the tricks?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. But
I just saw recently a video of a guy, and I like when people do that. It's like a before and after taken 10 minutes apart. And it was a huge difference just based on lighting. The guy got a pump, sprayed himself with some water, flexed, boom, night and day.
Wouldn't it be too obvious if you try to exaggerate the conditions of the before and after? Like, to the viewer, wouldn't it look completely obvious? I feel like you would at least try to fake that fact that it was in the same position under the same type of conditions.
I feel like the layman is not looking at it like that. Maybe a fitness professional, somebody that's been working out or doing it for a while would, but I don't feel like a regular person is looking at like, oh, the lighting is a little off here.
I think there's two different styles of before and afters. One is the one that is the better one, which is you have to do it in the same place with the same lighting and the same angles. Like, you're not, what happens is that people take an old, horrible picture of yourself, which we can all find, that somebody took candid of you and you look terrible with horrible posture, and then underwater. And then the after is posed perfectly, so your butt looks bigger and your waist looks smaller and your back looks big and you look nice. And like, that's obvious, but I feel like the ones that are harder to fake are the ones like behind the same wall, under the same light.
And even so, people will find a way to jip it.
I like the ones where they're holding a newspaper.
Oh.
Like May 25th.
Like, you can't,
like you're being held captive.
I can Photoshop a newspaper easy though. Like, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Well, therein lies the problem. Now we have AI, we have these apps that, you know, people use to make themselves look. It's crazy. You can make yourself look like more ripped, more cut.
The Facetune app, you can do anything. There's a classic picture of
bigger.
There's videos of people getting catfish, and it's like, oh, I pulled up trying to meet this person, and they show it next to the real guy, and it's like, oh, okay. Like, people se pasan. They put muscles on, se pasan. It's not like a little tweak. It's drastic.
Yeah, so I think that over time has just, everyone's already like, okay, yeah, I get it. There's a lot of fudgery going on
There's
here.
a lot of fudgery.
Now let's talk about how there's been a little bit of a social shift from vanity to more value, or maybe like deeper reasons to exercise. Now, when doing research for this, I came up with certain numbers and statistics, and I want to almost push back against them because I'm almost making an argument against my argument. What I mean by that is, it said that millennials and Gen Z care a lot less about aesthetics and more about like mental health or just longevity, physical health.
Quality of life.
Quality of life. As a matter of fact, 78% of them in a survey, in a mind-body survey, said that their primary reason for working out is health.
I think that has to be outside of Miami.
That's the thing is
I
that
don't believe it in Miami.
I believe that Gen Z especially is more aware of mental health, as we've talked about in this podcast before. However, I mean, we see it all the time. The number one reason people come to us to exercise is weight loss.
Lose weight,
I want to be ripped. I want to be more lean. So very rarely does somebody come in and say, I just want to be healthier.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it's a generational thing. But I also don't believe that they're being 100% honest, because
I think it's just trendy to say that.
it is trendy. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's like, and it's in Miami, maybe we're the exception, but we see it all the time. People.
I'm not the exception.
No. I mean, like
100% want aesthetics.
Okay.
Not 100%, but
I mean, our gym is a little different in the sense that people do come in
yes.
here and they're like, oh, this is my break. This is my my psychology, like my psychologist's office. Other places, people go for vanity and they tell you straight up like, I went here because I wanted to build my butt or something like that.
For sure. And it's like, I only want to work my butt and I don't want to work anything else, even though that's the right way to train. I don't care about that. It's all aesthetics. And then abs and butt, baby.
Yeah, they notice the mental health aspect after, but nobody goes online. It's like, oh, my mental health is really lacking. Let me find the gym. Like, I'm sorry, I don't agree with the 78%.
Yeah. So, okay. So I feel like now we're making an argument for. So do you think that
before and after
it's
pictures?
less popular because it's just been like, oh, okay, this has been like played out and you know, we're just not cool with that as a society anymore. But secretly, most people are like, man, that was an impressive transformation.
Yeah,
or like, oh, that's a cool. Because transformations are interesting to us. Let's face it.
Yeah, but
of any kind.
I think people now are more conscious of the journey and care more about the journey and what happens after, rather than oh, hey, you transformed your body in 12 weeks, great. Like, now what? Where are you now?
That's exactly the point of all of this, is that, you know, what good is a six-pack if you're miserable on the inside? And that's the way that a lot of this newer generation thinks, where it's like, okay, what did you have to do to get there? You know, how do you actually feel? This picture tells me nothing about whether you did it in a healthy way or what you're actually feeling or your mental health or your anxiety or anything like that. So I think that there's deeper reasons now why people are seeking out fitness journeys or transformations, and a lot of them have very little to do with aesthetics. I won't say nothing because that's just not true.
Yeah, and then I think also something we didn't even mention in the beginning is the GLP-1s have jaded everybody. You lose 5-10 pounds, everybody, Ozempic? Are you on Ozempic? Are you on Wegovy? Like, people have no trust in the fact that you can lose weight with diet and exercise anymore. It's automatic. The assumption is, Alex lost 20 pounds. She must be on Ozempic. And it's like, nobody wants to kind of talk about it. Some people are open about it, but some people don't want to talk about it. So I think that's caused even more of a distrust in the before and after community.
A good point. I hadn't even thought about that and didn't have it on the script, but that's a really good point.
I go off script. It's what I do. It's what I bring to the table.
Let's talk about why we don't use like transformation pictures as much. We have a few, but we don't use it like it used to be part of our system here at BFit, but now we don't really use it that much.
I had a binder of them.
I had a binder before and afters. And it was honestly, it was like the biggest selling point, because
impressive.
at the end of the day, it's like, look at all the success stories.
This could be you.
Boom, boom, you know? So I'm sure people are wondering now, why wouldn't you do that anymore? So picture this. You come into the BFit or you come into your gym because you want to lose weight. You're not happy with where you are. You're not happy with your fitness. Maybe you let yourself go. You're definitely not comfortable in your body. And the first thing we do is take your shirt off. We're going to measure you. I'm going to pinch you and grab your fat in very uncomfortable ways. And then pose, get against the wall, and we're going to take some pictures of you in every angle. I never realized in the beginning, I don't know why.
Daunting how scary it is.
Scary, intimidating, how uncomfortable we're making somebody feel. Yep. So after a while, it was just like, okay, maybe we shouldn't.
Before like, maybe are optional,
like, yeah, there should be like an optional thing, or we should
do it at home.
Now I just tell people to take pictures of themselves at home and measure their own progress. Because of course, once you've had the transformation, you want to see your progress. I still think that there is value to seeing visual progress.
Especially since
you can't see it in yourself.
I was going to say, since you see yourself every day, it's harder to see that. If you don't see somebody for 2 months, you'll be like, oh, wow, you look great. And we're like, really? I think I look the same. But since you see yourself every day.
I've seen people take see pictures of themselves like 6 months ago, people that we work with, and be like, I can't believe I used to look like that. Yep. Wow, I can't believe how much I've actually changed.
Yep.
So, but anyway, all that to say, we don't use it as much anymore.
Another reason we don't use it is because it starts the whole comparison thing. And I'm showing you a booklet of, okay, here's somebody that's not you.
Such a good point.
Here's somebody that's not you. That's somebody with a different body type, somebody with different genetics. This lady already came with a butt that looks like this, blah, blah, blah. It's comparing yourself to all these people that aren't you that, unfortunately, we know the fitness journey is not the same for anyone.
I remember, now that you say that, remember the one girl that had like a six-pack
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the end of it?
Yep.
And every girl was like,
How
can
did-
I get abs like
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
I was like, that girl has really good genetics for the abs.
Or
She
it's
didn't
like-
even diet.
Or it's like, oh, that lady, how old is this
She
lady?
actually worked at McDonald's, fun fact, and ate at McDonald's.
Yum. So we had another lady that was like 45, mid 40s, and people were like, wow, she looks amazing. How do I get like that? And it's like, genetics, like,
Well, genetics and
no, hard work, obviously.
yeah, of
But I'm saying
course,
like,
but you
what-
can't expect to be that lean at 50.
it's like, and it's the annoying thing of like when somebody's like, oh, this is my goal body. It's like Jennifer Lopez, and I'm like,
Oh,
stop showing me Jennifer
remember
Lopez.
that lady that stripped down to her underwear without us telling her?
Yeah.
And just like, okay, shh.
Yeah. Some people have no shame.
All right. So now let's shift over to what is the problem with an aesthetic-only progress tracking?
Well, if you're from the outside looking in, especially if you're just looking at pictures of somebody that can't talk to you, you don't know what it took for them to get there. It doesn't have any context. So what did they give up to get there? What did they have to do? Like, did they take anything? You don't know any of this. Did they give up their personal life? Did they sacrifice sleep? Did they, like I said earlier, use GLP-1s? Did they use hormones, any sort of therapy? All of these things are required for me to know exactly how you got there. And without that, I'm just looking at a picture with no context. Like, it doesn't mean anything to me.
Sometimes even if you do talk to them,
They'll
you
lie.
won't know exactly what
lie.
they've done
Yeah.
or what they've sacrificed.
Yeah, exactly. So if I'm just looking at a picture of you, it's like looking at a magazine cover. I don't know how many like blemishes they removed from you, or if they removed cellulite from the picture. I don't know anything. So,
And now that we see, for example, all these Hollywood actors that give their anecdote of what it took, like Zac Efron, what it took to be that shredded for Baywatch, like it's horror stories, like downright
miserable.
horror stories. That felt terrible, didn't eat any carbs, just like irritable all the time. Like he says it was the worst I've ever felt. I would not recommend anybody getting like that. I literally only did it for the movie.
also steroids.
I went overboard. Yeah, we know all kinds of stuff he must have
Come
been
on,
on.
bro.
But that's the point, is that you're looking at something and you're not realizing what it actually takes to get there, nor whether once you do get there, is it even worth it? Are
Yeah.
you happy? Did you sacrifice relationships, time with loved ones, like time going out and having fun,
Science
eating your
Fitness.
favorite dessert?
Science says it well. When he had a six pack, he's like, it's the most miserable I've ever been.
Yeah.
And a six pack doesn't also, this is a completely different tangent. A visible six pack does not mean functionality. It
Exactly.
doesn't mean strength. It doesn't mean anything. It just means, hey, you could have starved yourself.
you
And
can actually be weaker by
Exactly.
being so lean.
Exactly.
And
So-
have less energy.
I mean, so yeah, context definitely matters.
Yep.
And another aside to that is, how do they feel after? Like you said, during, yeah, you might be miserable, but do they become resentful of the gym? Do they become resentful of this diet that they were on? Like, all of these things are so important to you said 78% of people work out for their mental health. Why am I sacrificing all these aspects of my mental health if I'm not even happy
It
when I
defeats
get
the
to that?
purpose.
So,
And that's where the big problem lies, is that I think it creates an unrealistic expectation for the person looking at that before and after. And like you said earlier, comparison, which
Yep.
we all know how bad that can be.
the thief of joy.
And then it's like, okay, now you're comparing yourself to someone who knows what kind of advantages they had, who knows what kind of sacrifices they made, and who knows if they're even happy with that. But I'd venture to say that our culture is so pervasive when it comes to these things that even if you are unhappy and you are miserable, just to show the world, look what I accomplished,
Yep.
you're still gonna go out there and like fake it,
Yep.
like look at what I accomplished. I have a six pack now.
Yep.
And you're not even gonna disclose the fact that you are
You're miserable.
miserable.
I think it's also like the window shopping aspect of like, you're looking at the shiny new car from outside, you're like, damn, if I had that Corvette, I would be the happiest person. The guy in the Corvette's like, dude, it's just a car. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, once you have it, are you ever really content?
Or worse, I can't make ends meet because I got this Corvette.
Yeah.
So now I'm really stressed.
Yeah, exactly. Same. So like now I'm like miserable trying to, and well, you lose a six pack, you're gonna be sad, you're gonna be upset with yourself. Like all these things, like, is it worth it? I guess is the end goal, the end
Yep.
question. So then if we're not comparing by before and afters, if we're not using these visual aids, what's a better way to compare your progress?
And I'll answer that, but just keep in mind, I want to reiterate that visual is still somewhat important. I'm not saying get rid of it altogether, but yes, there are definitely better ways to track progress, which we're going to talk about now. I think the most important thing, and the thing I'm happiest about, and it's something that we're proponents of at BeFit, is that you want to celebrate what your body can do. You want to celebrate performance. What were you doing when you started training, and what are you doing now? Are you able to achieve an actual push-up now, whereas you couldn't do any before? Did you go up a certain percentage with your squat or with your deadlift or whatever? These performance type of metrics are a lot better to track, and by doing that, by getting stronger and tracking these things, everything else kind of falls into place. The mental health is going to improve. You're going to be more disciplined, and then you're also going to improve your aesthetics in the process.
That's a good point. And then I also like, my personal favorite way to measure progress is quality of life. So like we always use the example of, hey, I couldn't pick up my grandchild over my head, and now I can do that. I can do these things. I could chase my kid around the park and feel good. These quality of life improvements, I feel like, are the best way, because let's be honest, like we said earlier, what are you doing this for? If you're doing it for quality of life, or you're doing it for your own mental health, these are the things that you should really value. It's like, hey, I rode bike with my significant other all weekend, and I felt great. I wasn't sore. My back wasn't hurting. I came in with back pain. I don't have back pain anymore. These things are so much more valuable than I have a six-pack.
I completely agree, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate, because I feel like it takes a certain type of mindset to have that appreciation, because that's all that is like appreciation. That, look, I can pick up my grandkid, or I feel so much better with energy. But what I find is that we're very hard on ourselves. Like when you get to that point, you forget how far back you were back then. And now, at least I can say this for myself and a lot of my clients, like this becomes your new baseline, and all of a sudden, like, you don't appreciate it anymore. It's like, forget the fact that I'm fit, I'm healthy, I can run, I can sprint, I can jump, I can do all these things, I'm pretty strong. It's like, oh, I want to get to this. Like, oh, I'm not as fit as when I was 25, whatever. So I feel like it's a constant game that you have to play, of like reminding yourself, wow, look how far I come. Yes, maybe I'm not where I want to be, because we never are. But I feel like people, I know like who you're thinking when you say like picking up your grandkid, when you've gone from like something really traumatic, or where you really couldn't move, or you had an issue, or you had an accident, and then all of a sudden it's the simple things
that's when you have the appreciation.
That you have the appreciation for. Like, I appreciate it. Forget deadlifting 300 pounds. I just want to walk normal, get up out of my car, like do the regular thing. So
we have, the one client that I was thinking about specifically reminds everyone in here every time she comes in, and I miss her, I haven't seen her in a while. Every time she comes in, be grateful for that, what you have right there. Be grateful for all of this. I can pick up my grandkids. I'm so grateful for that. And it's like you said, these things that lead you, these events that lead you to that appreciation. Because like you said, you have to keep reminding yourself. And in that same vein, I think a good coach will help remind you of that.
Yep.
If you're frustrated with yourself, you come in like, oh, I gained 5 pounds. Like, hey, yeah, you gained 5 pounds. Remember where you were a year ago? You couldn't do this, you couldn't do that. So a good coach also comes into play there.
Yeah, I think that's a huge point, and it's one of the big valuable things that a coach brings. And we do it all the time. We have to do it every day, basically, because like I said, not everybody, but a lot of people are very hard on themselves. And I can think of one particular example where no matter how much you praise this person and you just give like data proven examples of, look how much stronger you are. Shut up! Yeah, it's just like, no, I'm not this, man. I'm not that. I'm comparing myself to like these ladies on Instagram that are, the 0.1% of the population that, are ex-gymnasts.
And what we said earlier, what's their exercise background? What have they been taking? How do they feel? Because you could bullshit your way on social media through anything. I can show you my body. I can tell you I'm happy. I can show you a video. It's like, wow, The Rock is such a nice guy.
But besides that, don't compare yourself to those 100%. People. Like, let's look at you objectively. Like, this person, she's a grandma who has been lifting weights and training and doing cardio for 6 years now, consistently. How many people can say that? Strong, could do all kinds of things. Yeah, she has her pains and aches like every 50-something-year-old has, but she's super fit. Yeah. If you take her and like the average American, or see how many people are as fit as that,
all the time.
She's in the top 5% for sure.
All the time.
But that's not enough for her. And that's the irony of like the ambitious person, is that I've done all this, but I'm comparing myself to like the elite.
Yep, the 1% of the 1%.
So to add to what you were saying about quality of life, there's so many other things that you can track. Like, am I sleeping better? It's one of the things that people say all the time when they start exercising. They're sleeping, which leads to literally everything improves. Yeah. Your mood, your energy levels. Sleep is the foundation. So that's a very simple thing that has nothing to do with aesthetics, but it's a byproduct.
On that same note, you could say, I'd rather be strong, and that's something that's guaranteed to happen if you strength train consistently. You're gonna get stronger. I'd rather feel stronger than look more shredded, and I think that's a common
personally
thing. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. I'm not there yet.
No, You'll get there.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's a lifelong battle of, the body image thing is tough,
Especially in our field. Let's be honest. We post these videos, guys, to be completely transparent. We'll post these videos. We'll post exercise videos. A lot of you guys are very supportive and we appreciate you. A lot of you are a bunch of douchebags. A bunch of you are self-entitled douchebags on the internet.
Somebody told me the other day.
Yeah, because who the hell are you to get on somebody's social medias and be like, oh, with that physique, you're a trainer? Like, bro, you don't know what this guy's been through. You don't know his struggles. You don't know his body dysmorphia. Oh, man, I just in the middle of the house again.
And I think, that's the thing. I don't even know. Yes, obviously the field is bad, but I think that it's a very personal thing, your body image, right? So everybody has kind of their own image. I mean, their own struggle when it comes to that. And it's just going to be, you have to prepare yourself for the fact that it's a practice. It's how you talk to yourself, whether you're making these comparisons, whether you're like learning to love yourself and love your body and like just appreciate, like we said, the things that you can do, But I'd be lying if I told you like, yeah, I achieved this whole thing of like, I work out for my health and longevity. It's like, no, I'm still the type of person that thinks about aesthetics a lot. It's probably my number one driver.
Mini driver. Anytime you go to Home Depot, you never just go to Home Depot once.
Nope. Might as well get more shit there, dude. And then there are more medical data, or I guess personal medical data that you can track, like blood pressure, resting heart rate, things like that. Even grip strength you can track. That have nothing to do with aesthetics, but everything to do with longevity, how good you feel in like the later part of your life. Or even if you're in your 30s or 40s, you're gonna feel way better if these metrics go down. So there are many ways to track your progress that have nothing to do with like, here you go, before and after.
Yeah, something as trivial what may seem to you is like, oh, because let's be honest, we train a lot of females and they struggle holding weight. So something as simple as, not only are you lunging with 30s now, you're able to hold two 30-pound weights in your hand comfortably. And like you said, grip strength is directly correlated to longevity.
Yep.
So
how long you can hang from a bar.
How long you hang from a bar. These things, and like, let's be honest, in an emergency scenario, you're hanging for dear life. I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, if this is a life or death scenario, how long do you think you can hang up there? And a lot of them, when they start, is not very long.
Or can you even worse, can you get up from the cliff?
Oh, man.
That's a
tough
thing to do.
I'll get up from the cliff.
You know what I think is BS though in the movies when they lift the person up with one arm.
First of all,
they just lift an entire
you
body.
do this, te caes pa'lante, and then you're both gone, and then you're both
You're
gone.
done. I'll tell you right now, I'm not lifting almost anyone.
No, I'll anchor to something and then I'll maybe, but there's no
use
way.
Both arms, like, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the wins that don't go viral, but we feel like these are the ones that should get more traction.
Mm-hmm.
We have some personal examples here at the gym. We have a whole family. It's a mom and her two daughters. And man, they've seen some impressive results. From the mom not being able to do a sit-up, to doing full sit-ups, to being able to get off the floor, to play with her grandkids. And then
I love how excited she gets too every time
she's
she
always like,
hits
Victor, Victor, look at me hanging from the
PR.
bar. Yeah.
And again, that's where those are wins. That's something that A, keeps you motivated, B, makes you proud of yourself, and it's something that we encourage people to do.
And let's be honest, people tend to be more proud of themselves, like you said, when they do these things rather than, I'm so proud of myself, I got a six-pack. Like,
That's
you
true.
never see that.
That's
People
true.
don't celebrate their physical body as much as they do their ability to do things.
I think that's because, as a society, although we're pretty vain as a society, vanity is not like
vanity is
virtue.
fleeting too. It's fleeting. It's like, you don't feel good just being ripped. You feel good doing a nice heavy lift that you weren't able to do before.
Yeah, you feel good when everyone's complimenting how ripped you are. That's why you do it, not because you feel good that you're ripped. You might actually feel bad.
You probably will feel bad.
But that's how strong we care about other people's opinions, is that we walking around feeling miserable, but wow, you look great. Anyway, I want to get back to the family because that's a great story.
Yeah, one of the other daughters had a pre-diabetes, and that's gone.
Yeah, gone because of
strength training consistently. And the other daughter had MS, and she's been working out consistently. Well, she still has it, but she's been working out consistently 4 or 5 days a week.
Yeah, she's probably gotten the strongest of anybody else because of where she started to where she is now almost a year later.
It's amazing. We're so proud of the whole family, and they've been consistent. They haven't dropped off. That for me is a joy that surpasses any physical, that I can get to anybody, I could drop your body fat to 10%.
And the sad thing is, those are the wins that don't go viral. I mean, I guess
If you have enough of a sob story though, but
yeah, they're becoming more, the TikTok and stuff like that.
But you really gotta sob it up, and you gotta do a whole story.
And I feel like people like that aren't necessarily gonna do that. Like,
Yeah.
You're not gonna put their story out there like that because I feel like it's very performative at a certain point. Not to be like cynical.
You're working in silence too.
That's not gonna go as viral as like you went from like overweight to an actual before
the lady
and
on the
after
bike.
picture.
The lady on the bike that lost like 25 pounds.
But these are the real wins. This is what keeps people going. And that family, you can see what we were talking about before about appreciating. They appreciate where they're at because they didn't tie it to like their aesthetics.
All of them, yeah.
So I want to finish with talking about why before and after pictures still have their place and why you can still use them.
After we've been shitting on them all day?
Yeah, but I think we've done it with nuance.
Yeah, I agree. So why?
I think giving full context, I think it comes down to transparency. If you are going to post a before and after picture or document your journey in that way where you're showing the aesthetics, I feel like you have the responsibility to say exactly what you did and was it worth it? What did you sacrifice to get there?
How do you feel now?
Exactly. How do you feel after it's said and done? And
Did you burn out? Yeah.
Be honest about that. Not just because you think you should feel better because, wow, look at this transformation. Talk about your struggles. I feel like one of the most impressive things that we did with one of our clients, Will, which we have a whole podcast on, his story is fantastic,
Really?
was that he was able to share those ups and downs. It wasn't like a linear thing and I figured it out. And it's not a Hollywood story. There's a lot of obstacles. There's a lot of things that have to be sacrificed that may not be worth it to you. When you see that journey, you're like, well, okay, I'm not willing to do all that.
Yeah, I don't want to cut off my pizza on the weekends. I think one of the things that I was most proud of with Will's progress was the fact that he was able to continue, because we see a lot of burnout in these things. We see a lot of like, oh, you did a 6-week transformation, and then what? Where are you now? He was able to continue to stay consistent, which is something that's really hard to do. Once you get to your quote-unquote goal, people tend to like, drop off. I'll get
call it the
sloppy.
marathon effect. What happens after the marathon?
You're cooked.
A lot of people don't keep running.
You're cooked is what you are.
Like, I did it off the bucket list, and that's it.
It's hard.
Okay, so why else would they be important? Like I said earlier, tracking visual progress is gonna give you that little bit of boost. So like, wow, my body is changing, because most people don't think their body is changing because they see themselves in the mirror every day. So taking some pictures of yourself, as long as you can disassociate from thinking that, wow, my body isn't changing, so that's discouraging, so now I'm gonna stop working out. As long as you're that type of person that it's like investing in the stock market. I always use this example, but they always say
volatile.
Exactly. They say if you can't take the stomach, like the gut punch of the market's down 40%,
don't do it.
Then don't invest.
Yeah.
Because if you go in thinking that this is just gonna be a nice linear growth, 8% a year, that's not gonna happen. It's like this, up and down, very volatile. So weight loss and fitness, it's the same. You're gonna get sick. Something's gonna happen. You're not gonna lose. You're gonna plateau and not lose so much weight. So be prepared for that, and your body might look the same for a month without it budging, and then all of a sudden it starts to change again.
Eureka.
So you have to be prepared for that and just like stomach those obstacles.
Good pun with stomach. I also think that the value of the before and after is, in my opinion, is more valuable in the sense that I refuse to go back to that. You know what I mean? To like, you look at your before. I don't want to be that pig next door. So that for me is more valuable. Like, hey, look, I might not be comfortable exactly where I'm at now, but at least I'm not where I was before. And then that picture should trigger.
I won't let myself get to that.
And that picture should trigger the negative feelings that you had. Like, I felt bad. I was tired all the time. I wasn't comfortable with my own skin. I didn't want to wear these clothes. So hopefully that is enough to trigger hey, I'm going to be consistent in the gym, even though I'm not seeing the exact results I want right now.
And the tricky part with that is being able to do all this without shame, with less shame, because it's not helpful when you beat yourself up so badly and like, you hear people say all the time, I was a fat slut. Like, I said it jokingly, but people say that, like, I was disgusting. Like, I couldn't even look at myself. I didn't want people to take pictures of me. And that's okay that you felt like that. You're human, but without shaming yourself into it. I'm guilty of it myself sometimes, where I'm just like, God, I'm like, really, I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like,
you slob.
But
I look at you sometimes, I think the same.
Wow, man, that's messed up. No wonder I have such bad body image. No, but seriously, it's something where like I said, it's a practice of trying to be on this journey, knowing what expectations you have to have without really shaming yourself.
And appreciating your micro wins, every little win.
Exactly.
And appreciating your micro penis. So I think what we're saying with this is that the fitness world is evolving past just looking at aesthetics and looking at the exterior, and we're heading to the age of what they call the age of authenticity, We want to know your story. We want to know what you're going through. We want to know your pain points, all these things you went through, rather than just looking at your before and after picture.
And I think you're right, but the obstacle with that is going to be, or the challenge, I should say, is that not everyone feels comfortable sharing like their struggles, because a lot of it has to do with shame and some things that you just don't want to share,
personal.
especially on the internet.
Yeah.
And B, you don't want to disclose a lot of times exactly what you did for fear of judgment.
Yeah.
So if you are on a GLP-1 or on Ozempic or something like that, a lot of people do have a negative stigma with that. So you're not necessarily going to share that, which exacerbates the issue, which is, look at my transformation, but I'm not secretly telling you that I took this thing to like curb my appetite.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge that I see, but I agree with you. And I think that there is this movement of just be more authentic about it. You know, share your struggles. Next week, actually, we're going to talk about body image, and particularly as it pertains to men, because I think people don't realize, from what I've seen, just how self-conscious a lot of men are and what some of the standards are. And there's a really good video that I did on it, and men sharing their insecurities and stuff. And I want to go over that because I think it's going to shine a light on the fact that, wow, like there are these pressures, there are these standards, and there are these insecurities, and we don't talk about them.
Men, as men, we don't talk about them. It's not like girls that are like,
talk to each other about them.
oh yeah, no, but you look good. No, men are just shitting on each other 24/7.
Yep, without realizing that
what
actual
somebody's going through behind the scenes.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about that next week. So definitely subscribe and tune in for that.
But I think in conclusion, what we're saying is that fitness and the gym and exercise should make you feel different, not just look different. And I think 100%. That is the underlying.
And the feeling different is what's going to keep you consistent. That's what people don't understand until they do it.
And you guys are like, oh, but who cares? I just want to look ripped. It comes with it. Like, you don't have to chase your aesthetics. Like,
and also, let's say it doesn't come right away, but you can decide after you've become the type of person that exercises consistently, you can decide, okay, do I want to make this next sacrifice? For example, do I want to sacrifice, not having my dessert on the weekends or not going to dinner 3 times a week? Because there are sacrifices you have to make. Maybe like 85% of our members here at the gym, they're not willing to make the sacrifice to be super ripped. They like working out and what it does for them in many ways, and they're healthy and they have good mental health, while also enjoying their lives outside of the gym. And to me, that's fantastic.
That's where I'm at.
So
I'm not giving up Pizza Fridays.
And that's the thing. I'm not giving up my Haagen-Dazs.
There you go.
Peanut butter chocolate.
Exactly. What, you know that the best ice cream this year or last year?
No.
Haagen-Dazs peanut butter. I thought of you.
It's because I buy all of them.
Number one.
I keep them fully stocked.
Dude, I'm not joking. Number one.
It's
one.
Fire.
It's really, really good.
It's good. So
if you guys haven't tried it, try it out. Ruin your fitness progress, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Beaver Brothers
Podcast.
Tune in next week where we do the whole podcast shirtless.
Fitting this
in your mouth.